Hi, welcome back to Life's Wild Ride. I am just now, we finished up that trim piece, so that was probably the last video, I don't know. I record so much that I try to still put it in order. Right now I'm just basically brainstorming. I have to design the cabinet system over here to take this 100-gallon water tank, which is going to be laying flat right here. I don't know how much you can see, but it'll be laying flat, starting at that wall and coming out this way. It's going to be up off the floor a little bit, so I got to have, and because I want to have a back, my kitchen cabinets are going to come here. Then I'm going to have a backsplash. I'll have to put a cap on top here. This is actually too tall. I got to cut it down some. And I'm just kind of troubleshooting here. I got to make sure, because there's going to be an outlet going in here. I'll make sure there's got enough room, depth for the outlet box. But I want to make sure whatever I screw in here, up here, down there, that I'll put it in every window place, but probably the outlet boxes, I'll put it on each side. You're not going to see it because these are 5% tint. You cannot see in these windows. So I might paint the back of this black, but you won't see it anyway. As well as the back of whatever I put for the backsplash here. I'll probably just paint it black. You're not going to see anything. So I'm just trying to figure out, I got to cut, figure out the height of this. And cut a bunch for in between each of these ribs as far as the cabinet's going to go. Start building the structure here that will hold the 100-gallon tank. So I guess I'm just kind of just talking out loud so you can kind of see the process of what I do sometimes and rethink it probably 10 different times, because every time, I've never built a school bus before into a conversion, but when you're doing stuff like this, nothing's the same. You're always, something's going to be tweaked. It's not like a traditional building a stick house. So you got to get creative sometimes. And then of course we're always changing our mind on what we want for a design, and the layout's pretty well ironed out now. So sometimes you have to make modifications. Things come up that you didn't expect. So that's it. That's what I'm working on now. I think I got this down. This is probably the size I'm going to use. Just a 2x cut in half. And that'll give me the most material. It's certainly strong enough. I'll screw it in. There'll be, enough. This tank will sit up off the floor a little bit because I want a toe kick area, and the tank is wide enough that it's going to come all the way out. So I got to lift it up off the floor so I have a toe kick area below the tank. But then above the tank, there'll still be a lot of storage between, the top of the tank and underneath the cabinet, other than where the sink's going to be, of course. And the sink's going to be all the way down there because when the water comes out, it has to turn and go out around the tank and then drain down. So we got that to deal with. So the sink will be right down in the far corner, most likely. So the pipe does not have far to go to drain. I'm keeping all the water in one corner. And as this comes together, you'll be able to see that. So, all right, I think I've rambled on long enough for this segment. I'm just going to finish up this, and when I come up with something to start putting together, I'll show you that process. I got some of the studs on the wall here, and temporarily got the outlet somewhat just so I knew where it had to be. We got to do some adjustment here, but what we're going to do now is just lay this tank in place temporarily just to see if I have to add another stud beyond that one, or we're good. This is way. It down this way. Yep. So it goes all the way over. Yeah, it might have to come back a little bit, but we have room. Well, I don't have to go any further. That's good. It lands right here. Perfect. I don't have to have one halfway. Emergency window stays accessible. So that's good. We just got to figure. I'll probably end up just bringing this like this, Yeah. And just right up against this stud here. And that gives us room for piping and vents over there. So basically what we got to do now is build the framework that's going to lift this thing up into position. But I want to think it through because the beams in the front, I don't want to go part way and then add beams to it. So we got to cut them the right height for the counter and then put cross members across afterwards. And I'm probably going to put a piece of plywood or something. I don't know, we're going to do a couple things. I'm not going to rely on just these 2 or 3 studs to hold us. 100 gallons of water, that's like over 800 pounds. It's a lot of weight, like 900 pounds. So anyways, this is where it's going to sit. Now I just got to build the structure to hold it. Alright, that's right. We're pulling out the big guns now for this next project. So we've done some studying and designing and thinking of how we're going to do this to make sure this tank is well supported. We want to bring it off the floor like we talked about. So we got the 4-inch, 4.5-inch little feet. And then I got this hardwood, which is 1 by 4. It's really 3.5. And we're going to double them up on here, and double them up out there, out on the edge here as well. And it's also going to leave enough space for us to put pieces in between, still resting on the foot, not relying on screws or nails, so that tank will not go anywhere. And then we're going to top it with a thin sheet of plywood, just so the tank itself doesn't buckle into any spots. But it's going to be probably overkill, but it's not going to go anywhere. Then we will actually strap the tank in place too. I'll probably run eye bolts down through the floor all the way and hook something to the eye bolts and go around and strap the tank all in place so it can't budge. So we gotta get the compressor fired up, because this hardwood, you can't put screws in it. The screws will just snap off. They're not going to hold very good. So we're going to go ahead and nail it in with the framing gun. So that's what we got to get going here. All right, so we got the length long boards in place to support. There will be ones that go in between here for the distance, but what we're going to do now is set the tank in position, and that'll tell us, you know, how wide it's going to be. I mean, I can measure, I suppose, but I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Grab that side trace. It's just going to be centered like that, really. We'll bring this right up to the edge of it. Got it? Because there'll be a piece of plywood on top of that, which will help flatten everything out, but that's where it's going to sit. So yeah, so we'll put a piece in between here, hopefully you can see, and that'll get us our spacing, as well as the two in the middle. I'll give extra support too, but I don't think it's going to be necessary once we put plywood on top. That's it, that's where the tank's going. Then we'll build this up, and basically build our kitchen cabinets around this, and from here to below the cabinet, countertop, will be storage. So we'll put another shelf in here when we build this. There'll be a shelf over the top of this. That'll be all storage. And it goes over our backsplash. So we're getting there, one step at a time. We're coming along with the tank base here, and again, I'm trying to be conservative, not waste stuff. I wanted to give the tank extra support. So for the if it's just plastic, I don't think it would be a problem with the weight of the water in between these openings. But I had a lot of this cut off quarter-inch plywood from something else. So I thought, why not cut them and just fill in between the best I can, wherever I can. And that's going to give it, much more surface area for that water to sit on. Some of them are shorter, but I'm putting those where I have these cross members in. So what I've done, I guess you can't see, is we got the 3 main supports. I got cross members going in between all the way along here, sitting on legs, and it's fastened to the wall. It'll be fastened to the floor, and again, eventually the tank will be strapped down. But by having all of these in place like this, the tank's got a wide area for its weight to sit on, and I don't waste a whole sheet of plywood on it. This is just scraps. So I'm going to go ahead and use the brad nailer and just nail these down really quick, and that'll be that. And then I'm going to talk about the tank here in just a second and tell you something you may need to do if you run into the same problem I did. But first, let me go ahead and get these all nailed in place. Everything you see here is all going to be hidden under the tank and under the cabinets and behind everything. So you're not going to see anything anyways, but I wanted it good and solid so it doesn't go anywhere. Still good and solid?
Yeah.
Alright, so one thing I'll tell you about the tanks, at least the ones I have, is, and I understand it's not a big deal, but I had to make adjustments for it. The tanks are not square. They're fairly thin material, So I'm sure when they mold these, they cannot always get them exactly level all the way across. So they are off a little bit. And when I made the platform level and flat and square, this rocked. And in order for me to cause it to sit level, you really had to push hard down on it. And to me, that's putting added stress on the tank because that's not how it was formed. So it's slightly out of square. So I want to support it in that position so there's no unnecessary strains on it. So I had to shim a couple legs to the base and made one leg a little bit longer. Again, all going to be hidden, so it's not going to matter. But now the tank is solid and it's not going to be under any stress trying to square itself out once you start putting, 100 gallons of water in here, which is, 800-900 pounds. So I just wanted to, make that clear. You want to make sure it's really supported good and square and true, so there's no extra stress on the tank. Now you can't see, but the fill will be at the other end, and we'll show that when we start plumbing everything in. It's going to actually go through that wall for outside. It'll slide this way a little bit more, but we have space over here that we'll be putting the cabinet in, the side of the counter. The counters will start further out. We'll end up with our toe kick. And then there'll be a regular counter height with our backsplash up here. So the tank now has its base. So one step closer to getting this project done. And when I say one step closer to getting it done, there's still a long, long way to go. Right, Trace?
Yes.